Babylon is that original hoarded knowledge has gone bang, Freemasonry, bang, Christianity, bang, Judaism, bang, secret societies, and all these different parts of our society today actually come from the same source. They're laughing at us, but not for long. Now this is classic, the Babylonian Trinity. In Babylon they worshipped a trinity of Nimrod, who also became known as Baal, Queen Semiramis, the mother goddess, also known as Istar, apparently was how it was produced. Istar is where Easter comes from. And the third point of the Babylonian Trinity was the virgin son, Tammuz, a mirror image of the story of Jesus. Now what happened is when Semiramis was supposed to have been the mother of Nimrod and then married him and stuff like that, and when Nimrod died, Queen Semiramis, the goddess of Babylon, decreed that he would be symbolized as the sun. She said he'd gone to the sun and became known as Baal, the sun god. And she claimed that she had been miraculously impregnated by the rays of the sun, Nimrod, and gave birth to a virgin son, Tammuz, who was a reincarnation of Nimrod. Therefore, father and son were one. I've heard that somewhere before. Give us a clue. And so all through the ancient world, you'll find the focus on the sun. Often it's symbolizing Nimrod. This is Sri Lankan, and this is Roman. And one of the ways they symbolized the sun was as a lion. The royal animal, the king of the jungle, the king of the solar system with the long mane, the rays of the sun. This is a throne from the Roman Empire. And so you'll see the lion all over British heraldry and royalty and stuff like that. Symbolizes the sun, symbolizes Nimrod, the god of Babylon. On the side of that Freemasonic headquarters in Boston, the sun. Again, all these different apparently unconnected areas of our society are controlled by the same force and come from the same knowledge. Now, one of the ways that they symbolized Nimrod was as the fish god, who they called him, one of the names they called him was Dagon. And this is how they portrayed him, Dagon, symbolically. Well, I'll be Dagon. When they moved to Rome, they used the same symbolism. The Roman church is just the church of Babylon. There's a guy turned his toes up, look, with the fish head on his hat. And so you'll see the symbolism of Nimrod in the military and stuff. Nimrod aircraft and various other things. Nimrod and Osiris were the same deity. It's interesting that what they said about Nimrod was that when he died, Queen Semiramis found all parts of him except the willy, symbolic of the bloodline, I guess. And in Egypt, they said that the wife of Osiris, Isis, who was Egypt's version of Semiramis, she found every part of Osiris except the willy. I mean, it's just a recurring story. Queen Semiramis was known also as Istar, which is where we get Easter from. The Christian festival comes from Babylon. And Queen Semiramis, this is the Ishtar Gate, the rebuilt one in Babylon now. And you find this lady, who was a real goddess symbol of the Illuminati, everywhere. This is an original Babylonian piece of artwork with Ishtar, the Babylonian goddess, and she is protected by the owls, which will become very significant before we get to lunch. Now, what we're looking at, again, is this same knowledge expressing itself in different ways, different names. What they said about Queen Semiramis was she was the virgin mother of Tammuz. What they said about Isis is that she was the virgin mother of Horus. When they moved to Rome and created the Roman Church, they turned Mother Mary into a deity, and what do they call Mother Mary? The Virgin Mother and the Queen of Heaven. It's just a front for the knowledge, and they've sold the people a cover story called a religion. This is an image of how they used to portray Queen Semiramis, Ishtar, in Babylon. That's how they portray Mother Mary and Jesus to this day. That's how they portrayed Isis and Horus. That's how they portray Mother Mary in an English church not far from me. Semiramis, Isis, Mary, same deity, different name, as they went off into different areas. And the basic same knowledge is there. And they also talked about, brought about the image of the Black Madonna, because what they do, the Illuminati, is they reverse everything. If something is white, they'll make it black. If something's black, they'll turn it white. If something is supposed to point up, they'll point it down. This is why the most obvious symbol of Satanism is the reversed star pointing down. Again, inside the temple in Boston, the goddess. And this is the Mother Lodge of Freemasonry in London. This is where they launched Freemasonry into the American colonies. I think this was started in the early 1700s. Very much part of the manipulation of America. Now, London is a big place. It's got endless streets. Where did they park the Mother Lodge of Freemasonry? Great Queen Street. What did they call Semiramis, Ishtar in Babylon? The Great Queen. This is the background to all these apparently unconnected organizations. So when they said, we named Virginia after Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen. Well, first of all, Queen Elizabeth I was no more a virgin than Madonna. And secondly, it was the Virgin Queen of Babylon that it was named after. This is the way, or one of the ways, they portrayed Queen Semiramis in Babylon. I've seen her somewhere before. The Statue of Liberty was given to New York by French Freemasons in Paris who knew what it really symbolized. Queen Semiramis, the Illuminati goddess from Babylon. The goddess of the French Republic, from where the Statue of Liberty came, is, again, the image of Semiramis. The goddess of Columbia, Semiramis. In Babylon, they symbolized Nimrod as a fish, and they symbolized Semiramis, Ishtar, as a dove. When they moved to Rome, they called her Venus Columba, Venus the dove. Still in French today, the word for dove is Columba. And that's why we have Columbia all over the place. Christopher Columbus, that wasn't his real name, but he became known as Christopher Columbus. Columba, the dove, taking the branch into the Americas. The dove of the Babylonian goddess. So we have British Columbia, District of Columbia, Columbia Pictures, Columbia University, Columbia Broadcasting. On the note paper of the Supreme Council of the Freemasonry movement in Great Britain, the dove. On British royalty, the sticks that she holds, septics or scepters or something, I don't know what you bloody call them, the dove. Oh, it makes me bloody laugh, you know. You know when you're in a room with a queen, the staff and stuff, they have to go out like that. So the Queen don't see her back, you know. She probably only thinks people only have fronts. I mean, what are we doing? Oh, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I guess when I talked about satanic rituals at Balmoral Castle, I've lost my knighthood, have I? Do you reckon I have? Do you reckon I've lost it? I think I probably have. Nimrod died, it was decreed that he would, like Tammuz, because he and Tammuz were one, father and son, would be symbolized from then on with a flame or a torch, the symbol of Nimrod. So we have Queen Semiramis holding the torch of Nimrod. It's all Babylonian symbolism, and it's all the same network. This is the Statue of Liberty right next to the River Seine, in fact, on an island in the River Seine in Paris. Mirror image. Because what happened is, as those bloodlines moved out of Babylon into Europe, they took the symbolism with them and dropped it off. And then when they went to the Americas, they took the same symbolism. That's why you see it in both places. When they killed Kennedy in Dealey Plaza, just down from where he was shot, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry put up a obelisk, another ancient symbol, the phallic symbol, the bloodline symbol, and on top they put the flame of Nimrod. We did it, we're telling you, but you can't see it, can you? On Kennedy's grave in Arlington Cemetery, the flame of Nimrod. They use things like, it's the eternal flame. Oh, please. On the place, the Pont d'Alma Tunnel, where people take their tributes to Diana, where she died in the set-up car crash, you have a massive and exact replica of the flame held by the Statue of Liberty. So, the candle was also used to symbolize Nimrod in Babylon. And so we come to Tammuz, the mirror image of Jesus. If you want a Son of God who died so our sins could be forgiven, and was born on December 25th, well, take your pick. There are a stream of them all over the place. On the left is Horus, on the right is Jesus, and we also had Tammuz, who was one of the original models in Babylon. Horus and Jesus. Jesus was the light of the world. Horus was the light of the world. Jesus said he was the way, the truth, and the life. Horus said he was the truth, the life. Jesus was born in Bethlehem, the house of bread. Horus was born in Anu, the place of bread. Jesus was the good shepherd. Horus was the good shepherd. 7 fishers board a boat with Jesus. 7 people board a boat with Horus. Jesus was the lamb. Horus was the lamb. Jesus was identified with a cross. Horus is identified with a cross. Jesus was baptized at 30. Horus was baptized at 30. Jesus was the child of a virgin, Mary. Horus was the child of a virgin, Isis. The birth of Jesus was marked by a star. The birth of Horus was marked by a star. Jesus was the child teacher in the temple. Horus was the child teacher in the temple. Jesus had 12 disciples. Horus had 12 followers. Jesus was the morning star. Horus was the morning star. Jesus was the Christ. Horus was the Christ. Jesus was tempted on a mountain by Satan. Horus was tempted on a mountain by Set. Do you reckon there's some connection there? Do you reckon? I don't know. My jury's out. Same knowledge, same control. This is Mithra, who was said to have been born on December the 25th and died at what we call Easter. This was a deity worshipped in the Roman Empire and was basically replaced in the Roman Empire by the worship of Jesus. And the reason people moved from Mithra to Jesus so seamlessly is, apart from the name, nothing seemed to have changed to them. And of course, the cover story religion and the cover story book, that holds the people here so they don't get into multidimensional infinite consciousness and ask questions. Mustn't ask questions. God doesn't want us to know. So Jesus was the light of the world. Yes, the sun. Jesus is coming back on a cloud. Yes, the sun coming back tomorrow morning, actually. This is where the symbolism where a lot of this came from. The ancients, they used to symbolize the year with a cross, creating the 4 seasons. I remember the 4 seasons, I'm old enough. Frankie Valli, remember? He used to sing like someone was holding something very tightly, do you remember? cross, and they put the Son on the cross. Ooh! Matter starts working. At this point was the winter solstice, and they said at this point that the Son was born. Because in the northern hemisphere, the Sun reaches the lowest point in its power on the winter solstice, December 21st, 22nd. 3 days later is the 25th in our calendar, and that's when they said that the Sun was born again and started its journey back to the peak of its power in the summer at the summer solstice. And one of the ways that and this is why that so many, the vast majority of these sun deities like Jesus and Mithra were given the birthday of December the 25th, because it was the birthday of the sun, that one. And they used to symbolize the cycle of the sun in relation to the earth as the life of a man going through the year. So he would be a baby here, become a big, strapping, strong man there at the summer solstice, and then would get more and more weak and old and frail until he became like old Father Time here. Now, one of the ways that they symbolized the sun at the peak of the power of this man-sun symbolism was with long golden hair, symbolizing the rays of the sun at the peak of their power in the summer. I've just told the story of Samson, because what happened in the Samson story is as Samson came down into the house of Virgo the Virgin, the house of Delilah, his hair was cut as the rays of the sun got less powerful, and he lost his strength. It's all symbolism, which they say, no, literal, take it literal, cover story. Real background, esoteric symbolism. Esoteric knowledge, public religion. And so you have this symbol all over the place of the sun in that symbol I've just been showing you. This is all around the square where the Ritz Hotel is in Paris, where Diana left, of course, on her journey to her assassination. This is the symbol of NATO, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Illuminati and a stepping stone to their world government. The sun and the cross. This is the symbol of the CIA, another expression of the sun cult controlled by these people. The cross and the sun on the cross. This is in a financial building right next to St. Paul's Cathedral in the City of London. The City of London, what is now known as the financial district, or the square mile where all the banking system comes out of, and the Bank of England, that is one of the real major heart centres of manipulation of this planet in terms of the secret societies of the Illuminati. And St. Paul's Cathedral is right in the heart of that. And across the road is this, and there you see the same symbol, the black sun, reverse symbolism, but basically the same as what I'm talking about. And when they built the cities, because their symbolism is staggering in terms of its detail, when they built the cities, they put these symbols in the cities, their major centres of control. This is Paris and the Arc de Triomphe. And this is one of the major centres of the street plan of Paris, which is a big, big Illuminati centre. There are 12 streets going off from the circle, and the arch is very much Freemasonic symbolism. That's why you have the Royal Arch of Freemasonry, etc. And in terms of Paris, they've even gone so far as to put the sun on the road. And this is known as the star circle. And if you look at the cross in the circle, they've even done that. A lot of the great artists and writers, some of them not for malevolent reasons, put this knowledge, secret knowledge, into their paintings and their writings. This is Leonardo da Vinci's famous picture, The Last Supper, in which he's symbolizing that symbol again. He symbolized Jesus as the sun. What they used to do, the ancients, is they used to put a halo around the deity that symbolized the sun, to symbolize that it was a sun deity and not a real person. So that's where the halo comes from. And what Da Vinci has done, who was a secret society initiate, and it's one of the reasons he had so many advanced thoughts and advanced predictions that have come to pass, he's broken up the 12 disciples into 4 sets of 3. Again, it's that symbol symbolized as a painting. I mean, why is it that all these bloody deities have 12 followers? Why do we have King Arthur and the 12 knights of the Round Table? The sun, the astrological circle, the months of the year, that's the symbolism of it in part. And actually at the entrance to that Freemasonic temple where I was sat in the chair is that picture, which Freemasons would understand what it means. And again, there's a depiction of Bel, the god Bel, the sun god Bel, on an ancient standing stone. There's the halo. That's what they used to do. That's where it comes from. So we have the phonetic use of this symbolism also with the Liberty Bell, Bel, Baal, and the rising sun. Horus was known as the rising sun, who rose in the morning at the start of a new day. So Nimrod was also symbolized as the rising sun. And we talk about Christ has risen. Yeah, the sun has risen. This is why you get the house of the rising sun coming up again and again. Phoenix, the rising sun, the sun coming back from the dark place. George Washington, on his famous sun chair, had this symbol, the rising sun, Horus, Nimrod, being a high Freemason, knowing exactly what it symbolized. In that Freemasonic temple in Boston, the rising sun. You'll see this coming up again and again. You'll see it coming up again and again. I like it. Especially around here. It's hot in it this time of year. So in Illinois and a lot of the other states, you'll see the sun coming up over the horizon. I mean, Illinois is not famous for its sunshine. And so you have again the recurring theme. Now, you've got to have it in close-up to realize what this is. This is above Downing Street. Tony Blair's home currently. What are the chances of that? Look, that. The rising sun, and it's even got the rays of it, the same as the sun chair of George Washington. And there's NBC News. Because you see this recurring symbolism in these different organizations in the modern world, what we call the modern world, because they are symbols that all these different, apparently different organizations are controlled by the same force. It's a secret language. The Mormon Church around in Salt Lake City and stuff, you find the rising sun and the reversed satanic symbol. These are all, as the Rolling Stones said, bridges to Babylon, and so is the control that's expanded more and more. Christmas, it goes back to Babylon and that period. You look at Santa Claus. It is a symbol for Satan, Santa, Satan. The tree, the Christmas tree, is a symbol of Tammuz and Nimrod for various mythological reasons. The Yule log goes back to Babylon. The child log. Ishtar said that she came to earth from the moon in an egg. That's why we have the Ishtar egg. Tammuz was famous in the Babylonian myths for being fond of rabbits. That's why we have the Easter bunny, the Ishtar bunny. In Babylon, they used to eat buns with a T cross on them. Tammuz was said to have been killed by a boar, a pig, and so from that time it was decreed that they would eat ham at the commemoration of his death, Easter, ever from that point forward. That's why we have the Easter ham. The period of the Christian Lent was the same period of the commemoration of the death of Tammuz decreed by Semiramis in the Babylonian myths. Everywhere you see the same thing, and what it's symbolizing is the same point of control. Other secret codes of the Illuminati, the skull and bones. This is a Freemasonic apron from the 1800s. When the Templars were arrested in France and what have you, they were accused of using the skull and bones in their rituals. And it comes right through to the present day. That's why the most infamous secret society in America is called the Skull and Bones Society. Came out of Germany originally. This takes in bloodline students, I think it's 15 every year, and the ratio of them that become significant players in American society and American government, either behind the camera or in front of it, is far, far, far higher than the general student population of the country. And one of the key families of the Skull and Bones Society is the Bush family. Prescott Bush, the grandfather, Skull and Bones, Father Bush, Skull and Bones, and Boy Bush, Skull and Bones. In fact, the last election was a classic of its kind. There are, like I said earlier, apparently, I don't know now, so they tell me, about 280 million Americans at the present time. At any point, there are a few hundred members of the Skull and Bones Society alive at any one time. What are the statistical chances of two initiates of the Skull and Bones Society running against each other for president? But that's what happened in 2004. And both were asked once only, I think it was on PBS, by a sycophantic interviewer, "Where shall I lick, sir?" about the Skull and Bones membership. He said it was too secret to talk about, and then the interviewer changed the subject. I mean, you're an interviewer. What do you mean? What do you mean it's too secret to talk about? You want to be president? You are president. Can't tell me that your secret society is too secret to talk about. He said the same, basically, and the same interviewer changed the subject. The Skull and Bones is a massive manipulator of American politics. And this is why, American presidents are not elected by ballot. They are selected by blood and selected by money and secret society networks. There you go. Vote for me. That's what it is. Unbelievable. This is, of course, a classic Illuminati symbol going way, way back. The pyramid and all-seeing eye. And that is on the dollar bill. It was put there in 1933 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt from the De Molay secret society, and there's a massive Freemason, and here we go. And basically what that says, that writing is, he favors our undertaking new order of the ages. A new world order is one of the code words for this control agenda. And they've stopped using that so much since Father George was using it all the time. And then when people started pointing out New World Order, that's the code, they don't use it so much now. Very rarely hear it. And so you'll see advertisements with the all-seeing eye and the pyramid all over the place. When the Pentagon came out with this organization to put propaganda out about what was happening in Iraq and the invasion and all the rest of it, and the war on terrorism, the Information Awareness Office, my goodness me, is that Orwellian or not? Look what they chose for the symbol. The looking over the world, the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye, the top of the pyramid of control. This is the symbol of British intelligence. MI5. There you go. The pyramid, there's the eye. Like I said earlier, and by the way, that fleur-de-lis is a Merovingian symbol. Like I said earlier, when you get to the top of these organizations, Mossad, British intelligence, the CIA, they merge. They're a global organization. This is MI6 again, the building next to the Thames, the feel of the pyramid with the capstone missing. This is Dealey Plaza, the street plan, Dealey Plaza where Kennedy was killed. And if someone said to me, without knowing all the rest of it, look at that, that's significant, I'd say, well, come on, mate. You know, there are coincidences, don't go mad. But when you do the research into this year after year, the obsession with symbolism is extraordinary. This was actually the site of the first Freemasonic temple in Dallas. It's a sacred place, or an important place, the Trinity area of Dallas, Dealey Plaza. I'll come back to that in a sec. CBS, the all-seeing eye, looking at you. CBS, NBC, same controlling force. This is the Salt Lake City, the Mormons, the all-seeing eye. And then you've got the obelisk, which is symbolic of the phallic symbol, the bloodline, genetics. And of course we've got the biggest one in the world, stone one in the world, in the Washington Memorial. In fact, there's a bigger dick just over here in a house. And you've got the church spire. These are all manifestations of the same thing. That's the Washington Freemasonic Memorial there. Again, the same thing, recurring. And so, when you look at the Allies in the Second World War, fighting the enemy, the Nazis, it looks different from this perspective. Yes, fighting two sides, controlled by the same people. So you've got this Nazi, he's won the bloody lottery, this bloke, look at him. He's got the Maltese cross, he's got the skull and bones, he's got the swastika symbol going way back that the Illuminati used, and he's got the eagle, which is a expression, a symbol of the phoenix, the sun re-emerging. And the symbolism is not just there to take the mick or anything. It's there for a reason, and some of it is there because it affects us in terms of law. When I first came to America, what I couldn't work out is if I was in a federal building, or I saw a court on the television, or I spoke in a school once, the American flag had a gold fringe round it. Why? That's not got the American flag's not got a gold fringe round it, but all these federal ones have. And I realized years later that it's to do with the international law of the flags. In the ancient times, when they used to trade with ships and stuff, and still today, the flag flying on the ship when you entered it depicted the law you were accepting you would come under by entering the ship flying that flag. What the buggers have done is brought that law ashore. So now when you enter a building, you are accepting the law of the flag being flown on that building. Now they don't tell us. This is why, when you look at the courts of America, behind the bloody judge, the American flag has a gold fringe round it. What's it mean? A gold fringe means that you are accepting the jurisdiction of British maritime law, commercial law, the law of contract, and you are accepting that any constitutional rights you have do not apply in that place with that flag. This is just some of the background to the detail of the scam. On the soldiers in Iraq, why on their uniforms do they have an American flag with a gold fringe round it? Because they are not there for America, constitutional America. They are there for the corporation that controls America, masquerading as the American government. In the streets of Washington, because they started with a blank sheet of land in Washington, they went mad. reversed star there, 5-pointed star, the satanic symbol, that's at the entrance to the Mother Lodge of Freemasonry in London. And you'll find that again, the satanic symbol, in the Mormon church network in Salt Lake City, because it is a satanic organization. Although the vast majority of people who are Mormons have no idea. They are sold the public religion and they don't know about the real background to it. I was taken around Salt Lake City by two lovely girls who had paid to come from Hong Kong and Thailand. They'd saved up for years to come to take people around and try to convert them to the Mormon religion, and paid for it with their own money. And I just said they were lovely. And I said to them at one point, I said, can you explain to me if there's any significance of Joseph Smith and the founders being Freemasons? And one of them said to me, what's a Freemason? That's how it's done. And so, this is from a book called Talisman of the United States, which looks at all the esoteric symbolism in the Washington Street Plan. This is the White House. This is the Congress Building. The other way around. This is the White House, the Congress Building. And in the street plan, you have the same satanic reversed pentagram. What they do to symbolize the negative is either reverse it, that's why you have the reverse pentagram, or they distort a symbol so it's no longer in balance. And if you go through there, that's 16th Street, around there you find a very strange building in Washington, which I'll come to in a second. One thing I was going to mention is the center of a pentagram is a pentagon, and that's why we have the headquarters of the American military as the Pentagon. So, like I said, just about here, you find a strange building in Washington. Here it is. It's like something out of ancient Egypt or Greece or that kind of period. And behind there is our old friend, the sun coming up over the horizon. Horus, Tammuz, Nimrod. And this is the supreme headquarters, 33rd degree Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. The idea that Freemasonry started in the 1700s and took over from the old Masonic guilds is total crap. It's just another name for a strand of control and manipulation going right back to the ancient world. Again, inside that Boston Masonic headquarters, on the wall is this picture. They don't think they go back to the 1700s. They come through from the ancient world, putting people in positions of power and influence to control society, friend to friend, from centuries past to centuries to come. Oh, I don't think so. Again, the Rosicrucians is a pyramid. There's lots of people involved in the Rosicrucian organization who are seeking enlightenment, but it's another pyramidal organization that locks into the network. This Capitol Hill is not a political building. It is a secret society temple. And I've seen that somewhere before. Yeah, that's where St. Paul's Cathedral, in the heart of the city of London, from which so much of American government and society is controlled. Now, the reason they call it Capitol Hill, and you see Capitol Hill a lot around America, it comes from in the time that the Illuminati were in control in Rome, headquartered in Rome. It comes from Capitoline Hill, which was a sacred place for the Illuminati in terms of their rituals and initiations and their secret society network at the time they were headquartered in Rome. Rome, by the way, and the Vatican is still enormously important in the web, right there at the spider center. But that's where Capitol Hill comes from. It's all symbolism. And before we have a bit of lunch, I just want to bring this in, because these three things all connect, and they all come back to the same force again. As I was saying earlier, it's so difficult for people who watch the news and get their information from the mainstream, to comprehend that children in their own neighborhoods could be being sacrificed in rituals. But the thing that staggered me as I started to research this in detail was not that it was going on, but the scale of it is staggering, and the kind of people involved in it. The people we see on the news, the people that stand up and pontificate about peace and caring about people. See, when you're sacrificing children, you have no problem with dropping bombs on civilians in Iraq. It just doesn't enter the empathy equation, because there is no empathy. And this is what these guys are involved in. And of course, not a million miles from here is a place called Bohemian Grove. This is the Russian River. It's not Russian there, but there are times of the year when it does. The Russian River, and behind those trees are, I think it's 2,700 acres of redwood forest, a playground for the elite called Bohemian Grove. Go down that road and there you go. It's a place where the elite go to take part in grotesque rituals and many other things. Now, again, Bohemian Grove will be a pyramid. There'll be members of Bohemian Grove, a lot of them that go at certain times of the year, who are not involved in this stuff. But the elite go at certain times when they bloody well are involved in it. And it's interesting how the faces turn up. This is a guy called Glenn Seaborg, who was involved in the development of plutonium. Thank you, Glenn. Great gift to the world. Much appreciated. Speaking at Bohemian Grove in 1957. Who is it sitting next to him? Oh, it's Uncle Ron. And who's this? Tricky bloody Dickie. Two people from massively different walks of life. One at this time a B-movie actor getting on and off his horse, and the other one a soon-to-be career politician taking on Kennedy in the 60 election. In fact, he was a career politician already. And they both are there at Bohemian Grove, and both go on to be presidents of the United States in a country where anyone can be president. This is what's going on in the background. And what do they do at Bohemian Grove? Well, they have rituals, and the main focus of the ritual is a 40-foot sodding stone owl. And there's people in the hoods and the bloody gowns doing these Babylonian bloody rituals, and then coming away and running the transnational corporations and deciding to bomb Iraq. This is some filming done by a guy called Alex Jones, who does a lot of great work down in Texas getting this stuff out. And he got in there and he did it in a hidden camera. The opening ritual, cremation of care they call it. And over here are the onlookers, the grovers. Then there's the lake, and here's the people doing the ritual. And there's a better picture of it. Now, these are the people who are running our bloody world. And what happened in this ritual, and it was, there's a video, you can get the video, is eventually a kind of a raft is floated in here with a body on it. Now, they say it's an effigy. I don't know either way, because my information is that the sacrifice and stuff goes on in much smaller elite groups, not in front of all of them. But who knows? They say it's an effigy. They then pick the effigy up, they put it on that bloody altar in front of the 40-foot stone owl, and they set it alight. And whether it's an effigy or not, the sound on the Jones recording is particularly good. Beamed out on loudspeakers. when they set fire to this effigy, this massive blood-curdling scream of agony comes out of the loudspeakers. Now, one of two things happening here. Either it's not an effigy, or they've actually gone to the trouble of recording a blood-curdling, horrific scream to play as part of the ritual. Either way, these are running our world, these people. And they have any empathy problem with slaughtering civilians? It's a bloodfest to them. It's a mass ritual, sacrifice. And the symbol of the Bohemian Club is the owl. One of the ways that Semiramis, Ishtar is symbolized by name is as Lilith. There's the one version of her, and there's that original Babylonian piece of artwork for the Babylonian goddess, and she is protected by the owls